Alright, so one thing I wanted to do was, I wanted to do wrestling reviews again because, I don't know, it just gives me something else to do on this channel. The last thing I did was, last wrestling review I did was on what was it called, WrestleMania 30, and that was a good show and everything like that, and it was nice. And I haven't really reviewed anything since then, and now that I have, pay-per-views available on WWE Network, I figure I may as well, take advantage of that and do more wrestling pay-per-view reviews. If I don't look directly in the camera, it's because I'm doing something in Mario RPG right now, so yeah, keep that in mind. So, Hell in the Cell was last night, and Hell in the Cell, ever since it started being a pay-per-view, is really like more of a filler kind of thing, especially now since Brock Lesnar is champion and he doesn't want to wrestle full time because whatever, and so he didn't defend his title last night. He probably won't until Survivor Series, which is next month. Which is funny because isn't there a clause that says you have to defend the title every 30 days? I guess it doesn't apply to Brock Lesnar, but whatever. So the matches in this pay-per-view were more like, it was just filler. That's the best way to describe it. There were two Hell in the Cell matches. Everything else was just regular matches, without any other stipulations. Except the Bella Twins, except Brie versus Nikki, which was thankfully short because those two are some of the worst performers in WWE. They're really bad, and it showed in their match. Their match was just awful. Yeah. So I'll start from the top. First match on the card was Dolph Ziggler versus Antonio Cesaro. 2 out of 3 falls. I guess that's the other stipulation I forgot. It was a pretty good match. They're making Cesaro look really weak. I don't know why, but Ziggler won 2 falls in a row. He pretty much swept Antonio Cesaro, which is weird because the match was really going back and forth. Cesaro was doing a lot of really high impact moves and finishers and stuff, and so was Ziggler. It was a real fast paced match, which is good because I like the fast paced style that Dolph Ziggler works. That's in his work rate. Even though sometimes it can get him into trouble with certain matches, he knows how to sell, which is really good. Yeah. So it would have been a better match if if Cesaro got a pinfall in. It would have been way better. It would have been legitimate pay-per-view quality. But I guess WWE didn't really want to do that with Cesaro for whatever reason. Maybe he's in the doghouse. I really wouldn't know. Yeah. Anyways. But it was a good match. I liked it. It's a good match for a pay-per-view like this where, you don't really get to see a lot of good matches. Next match after that, I believe, was the Bella Twins. Loser becomes the winner's bitch, pretty much. So Nikki goes over, as I predicted. So now Brie is Nikki Bella's bitch for a month. What's probably going to happen, in my opinion, my prediction is that they're going to I think they're probably just going to kiss and make up after it. Brie will be like, oh, I'm just doing favors for you because you're my sister. It'll be like the Hardys in 2009, it'll just go nowhere because who can get emotionally invested in the Bellas? Nobody. Just like the Hardys in 2009. There were still Hardy fans of Jeff and Matt, but if you were to do that in 2006, that would have been better. You know what I mean? But with the Bellas, man, that was just, no one cares. The crowd was silent during the match. The crowd was silent during the other women's match too, which was Paige versus AJ for the women's title, or Divas title, whatever the hell they're calling it. I've been calling it the women's title for the longest time. I'm going to keep calling it the women's title. After the Bellas was the Usos versus Goldust and Stardust, the Rhodes Brothers. It's nothing you wouldn't have seen on a Raw or in their last pay-per-view match or whatever. They did all the same stuff. The Rhodes Brothers retained. I'm getting behind Stardust a lot. Cody Rhodes really knows how to do it. I didn't think he would be able to pull off something like Stardust, but he does it real well. And his music is the music is awesome. That entrance music is fantastic. I love it. And he's just a really good character. He plays his gimmick really well. He has a very good work rate. He knows how to perform. Does he know how to cut a promo? That's yet to be seen. But the kid's only 30 years old too, so give him some time, right? Did I say that they went over? Yeah, they went over. It was nothing that you wouldn't see on Raw. This pay-per-view really was. It really was like a Sunday Night Raw, in my opinion. Orton versus Cena had their over 9,000th match. And Michael Cole even says before the match, it's like, oh, this is their 29th televised match, and not counting who knows how many house shows they've done, you know what I mean? And Cole also kind of like misquotes something. He says, oh, it's a decade rivalry. It's like, no. Orton and Cena, they really started doing matches in 2007. Not 2002. Yeah, they debuted in 2002, sure. But they were doing matches since probably 2007, so 7 years. Still a long time. Still a really long time. And that's how you know that a Raw or a SmackDown or a pay-per-view or anything on TV is going to be filler, is when you see a Orton versus Cena match. 5 years ago it was a big deal. But now, not so much. And that's sad. But anyways, Cena goes over, so it's going to be Cena versus Brock Lesnar again at Survivor Series. I really kind of wanted Randy Orton to win because I would have liked to see Randy Orton versus Brock Lesnar. You know what I mean? Someone as cold and sadistic, at least in character, as Randy Orton versus some, like some destructive, this destructive, former Ultimate Fighter who could just destroy everything in his path. You know what I mean? Versus like a cold, calculating, let's get to the people around my opponent. This way, my opponent is psychologically damaged before I go in for the kill, like Randy Orton. But Randy Orton's never gonna be what he was in 2009, 5 years ago. He was never going to be like that. I've been begging for that for a while. But what's probably going to happen is that Orton will probably... Let me turn something off here. Hold on. My bad. There we go. What they'll probably do is they'll probably have Orton turn good guy. They'll probably have him turn good against Seth Rollins. And then you had The Miz versus Sheamus for the US title. No one cared about Sheamus, no one cared about Miz, everyone cared about Damian Sandow. Because as Miz's stunt double, he is genius. People were chanting too, Mizdow was awesome. And they were like completely booing both The Miz and Sheamus out of the building. No one cares about Sheamus. No one cares about The Miz. Because those two, unless they have some kind of come to Jesus meeting, they've worn out their welcome. They don't do anything surprising anymore. It's apparent, very apparent, that they're both just phoning it in. They're both just phoning in their performances. At the end of the match, it was funny. Sheamus was messing around with The Miz. He would raise up the Miz's arm and Sandow's arm would go up, and then like he would like turn Miz on his back and Sandow would go on his back. And it's just really funny how Sandow's like miming or mimicking all these things that Miz does. Hopefully this leads to a rivalry between Sandow and the Miz later on. What I'm predicting what goes on with that is that Sandow will be in the Royal Rumble, and so will the Miz. And like, you know, they'll start like a program starting coming out of that or something like that. I don't know. I hope, because I'm a big Sandow. I'm a pretty decent Sandow fan. I loved his work 2 years ago when he like dissed the intelligence of the audience. He needs to do more of that, and or even like you could turn him into a good guy and have him diss the intelligence of his opponents. You know what I mean? And just not even address the fans. You can do that too. And that's probably what they're going to do with him and The Miz. Because they'll be like, oh, you claim you're a Hollywood actor, but, you know, you're so stupid that no one cares about your acting because you're not a Hollywood actor. No one cares about you. You know, that kind of stuff. Let's see. And, yeah, Sheamus retained. They need to unify the IC and, US titles. It's time. It's time for it just to combine into one unified intercontinental title and just, you know, have that be the second tier title. I mean, that's just how it is nowadays. WWE it doesn't need that many titles anymore. Really, you could just have, you know, World, Intercontinental, and Tag Team titles. That's about it. I mean, I guess, you know, if you want to really throw a lower card title, you can throw in a TV title or something like that. And WWE really should have a TV title. It'd be cool. I would not mind that. But they're not going to do it. They won't. And no one's really seen a TV title for a long time, since WCW. And, I don't know, I miss that kind of thing. You know what I mean? That'll be my next question for a good mic work. Shout out to a guy I'm subscribed to. Alongside him and alongside Spoonie and OTRS, good GMW, good mic work. He has a lot of good wrestling commentaries too. Those are the three I really listen to chiefly. Yeah. And then you had the Divas match, the women's title match between AJ and Paige. It's the same thing. AJ retains. Who cares? The crowd was dead during this match. They might do maybe a triple threat program between Alicia Fox, Paige, and AJ. Because the announcers are like, oh, who's the most psychotic of the three? You know. I guess that'd be cool. Not a big Alicia Fox fan. Is she a better performer than the Bellas? I think I would be a better performer than the Bellas. My bowling balls would be better performers than the Bellas in the ring. So, I mean, yeah, it was just, they didn't do anything special, AJ and Paige. Nothing at all. And then the final match of the evening, and I'm really glad they gave Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins the final match, because they deserve it, because they're the glimmer of hope, alongside Roman Reigns and the Usos and Cody Rhodes and a few others here and there. You know what I mean? We're like a glimmer of hope in WWE that everything's just going to be all right. You know what I mean? We're going to return to and Hell in the Cell did have a very old school feel right out of the gate. And Rollins versus Ambrose, in my opinion, it was really predictable, but it was entertaining to see anyways. I knew that Dean Ambrose was going to be psychotic enough to climb the top of the cell. So here's how the match starts. Ambrose climbs on the top of the cell, and he's like motioning for Rollins to climb up and get him and come after him. And Jamie Noble and Joey Mercury, the security guards that Rollins hired. It's pretty awesome seeing them back in on TV again. They were like pleading with Rollins, no, don't do it, it's a stupid idea. And then Rollins is like, no, I'm the boss of you and I'm gonna do it anyways, like, and then Rollins gets an idea, he's like, why don't you two go up there? And so Mercury and Noble climb the cage, climb the cell, and they appear on like opposite sides of Ambrose. So they're surrounding Ambrose, and Ambrose kicks their ass. And then Rollins climbs up and hits Ambrose from behind, and they all beat up on Ambrose for a while. And Ambrose brought like a kendo stick with him, and he brought it up to the top of the cell. And so he's like, he counters one of the moves from the security guys, and he beats them up with the kendo stick. And then they both kind of climb, and then both him and Rollins kind of climb down the cage, climb down the cell, and they're both conveniently right above the main announce table and the Spanish announce table. And I'm like, as soon as they do that, I'm like, alright, they're both gonna fall through it. And so they're like, like, they're taking turns hitting each other in the face with, on the cage, on the cell, and then Rollins bounces off of it and falls, and then Ambrose he just kind of lets go of the cell. It didn't look like there was an impact that made him do it. Like, it's not like Rollins like hit him or anything like that. Ambrose just goes, oh, fuck this, and just lets go of the fence, and then he like falls through the table. So they both fall through the tables. They got EMTs and stuff out there, and Cole and everyone's like, oh my god, their careers are ended. And it's so like half-assed. Because they fell through that was like maybe like a 7-foot drop, and like compare that to Mick Foley and King of the Ring '98, and compare that to a lot of other Hell in a Cell matches that took place pretty much before WWE decided to not have color or really ridiculously high spots and stuff like that. I mean, and the sad part is this was the highest spot of the entire night. I mean, I'm glad it happened. It made for an entertaining moment, no doubt, but it was just predictable. And so, the EMTs are like trying to take them back, and then like they both recover, and they both and Ambrose recovers before Rollins, and Ambrose beats up on Rollins a little bit, and then Rollins recovers, and then the match eventually starts, and it becomes like a weapon fest. And you can tell that Dean Ambrose is like gonna be like a second coming of Cactus Jack, or even Raven, or something like, or the Sandman or whatever, because he was in his element in that match, where and you can tell Dean Ambrose is not the most athletic person in the world. He does well when there's a lot of high spots, when there's weapons, when the pace is a little slower, big high impact moves, and Rollins is more of a high flyer, like very similar to Jeff Hardy, where he can do, he can do the hardcore style, but he prefers doing the high flying style of like the Hardys or Usos or whatever. So the match goes on. They're just taking turns, beating the crap out of each other with weapons. Rollins does some pretty cool moves, pretty cool high spots. And the match is about to end. And then the lights go out, and I'm like, oh, here comes Bray Wyatt. We haven't seen him in a long time. Here he comes. And sure enough, Bray Wyatt, in the middle of the ring, he clobbers Ambrose with Sister Abigail and hits him with a chair. Rollins pins Ambrose. Rollins wins. Keep in mind, there was nothing on the line here. It was just a grudge match, pretty much. You know what I mean? Like, they could have at least put the Money in the Bank on the line. That would have made more sense. But whatever. So now Bray Wyatt's back. What I think they're gonna do is they're probably gonna put Bray Wyatt against Dean Ambrose, and then Randy Orton against Seth Rollins. and they're gonna continue the Cena and Lesnar program, and that's what's gonna be happening up until Survivor Series. It was gonna be like the three like upper card programs. This pay-per-view is not worth $50 or whatever it is to order a standard wrestling pay-per-view. It wasn't. It clearly wasn't. It was worth $10, especially since you can watch it over and over again. So if you haven't gotten WWE Network and you like watching wrestling, that's a no-brainer since you get all the pay-per-views live and you can just watch them, rewatch them, whatever you want. Like, I missed the first half of it, of Hell in a Cell, so I had to watch a replay. Like, that's really cool. It's a good option they have. But I don't know. For a filler pay-per-view, this was not bad. For a regular pay-per-view, it sucked, but, you know, it's a filler pay-per-view, what do you expect? My expectations were very low. Therefore, I was pleased. Yeah. That's all I really have to say about Hell in a Cell. I don't understand. And, oh, by the way, a little rumor I heard is that WWE is getting rid of the Elimination Chamber. And they're going to replace it with some other gimmick or whatever, or just some standard pay-per-view called, like, the Fast Track or something like that. Honestly, they didn't need to do that. I liked the concept of the Elimination Chamber. Honestly, like, they could use that to, like, make the winner of the Royal Rumble defend his, you know, spot. Like, that would be pretty cool to do that. But, you know, the hell with my ideas. I mean, if these ideas were relevant, I'd be writing for WWE, but I'm not. Anyways, hope you enjoyed this review. You're probably going to be seeing more of this since I'll be able to watch pay-per-views when they come on live, wrestling stuff. So, yeah, so look forward to that. Alright, I'm out of here. Peace.